Your second act isn't just about starting over, it's about starting smarter. You've left what's predictable to follow your passion, and that mix of excitement and uncertainty is real. Welcome to Second Act Business Owner. I'm Lee Gray, and I'm here to make sure your leap of faith lands on solid ground. Each episode, I'm bringing you the real-world MBA training and structure you need to turn chaos into clarity. Stop building someone else's dream and start building a business that works for you. Let's get to work. Welcome, everyone, to the Second Act Business Owner Podcast. Today, we are on episode Lucky 13, and it's guest day. We have a special guest. I'm very excited to be interviewing one of my coaching clients, Kristin Kienzle, who is the founder, CEO, rock star of Utopia Modern Salon Suites. She also has a podcast. You'll have to check that out. I'm looking forward to you meeting and hearing her second act story because she's a second actor, like many of you are or many of you want to be. So let's get right to it. Kristin.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome.
This is really fun.
I know, isn't it fun being interviewed instead of interviewing all the time?
Yes.
So for people who may not know yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business journey.
I was doing hair for my whole career after high school. So went to cosmetology school right out of high school, worked behind the chair in every single kind of salon setting there is, from my home to a commission-based salon to suites, everything. And when I was turning 50, I started thinking, how much longer can I physically do this? And psychologically, it's hard carrying the weight of my clients and stuff. So I kind of started thinking about maybe what could my second act look like? What kind of pivot do I need to make to get from here to retirement successfully? So I decided to create a space where I could work behind the chair and finish out my career behind the chair while also providing space for other people to work. So I opened our first location and didn't intend to go beyond that. I just wanted to open a place for me to work. And it went really well. And it went so well that I think it was about 10 or 11 months in, I gave you a call. I said,
You sure did.
I need help. My suites are going really well. They're in high demand. I think I need more suites. I don't know how to do that. So working together, you and I got to our second location, then our third location, and now we're expanding our third location.
Yes. Beautiful.
That's my story.
It is such a great second act story. Remind me, how old were you? 51?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those of you that are watching, listening that are 50, 60, it doesn't matter. I even say in my book, you can have a second act at 80. You really can, because remember, you're never as smart as you are today. And the information that you carry with you in life is worth so much. So thank you for sharing that. And congratulations on your second act success.
Thank you.
And I know that you're going to be second acting and acting and acting and acting and continuing second acts because we get addicted. We don't just want to do one, right?
Yeah. Always thinking of the next thing.
Yeah. You gave us that great story about how you got here today, but did you always see yourself as a business owner? When did that happen for you?
I never saw myself as a business owner. I saw myself as a service provider, a hairstylist. I completely identified with that.
Yeah.
Even when I opened, we're here in our first salon that we built. And even when I opened this one, I was working alongside the other beauty professionals in the salon space, and I still didn't view myself as a business owner. Yeah. It really wasn't until you started coaching me to perceive myself that way, to act that way, to take on the roles and do all the things. So I'm going to say it was a good year and a half in before I realized, oh, okay, I'm not a service provider anymore solely. I mean, I was still doing hair for a couple of years, but I am now a business owner and I need
don't do hair anymore.
I don't anymore.
Yeah, and that was a really big step for you, big shift that you had to make here. And then you did some physical things and you were worried about your clients. Oh my gosh, what are they going to do if I leave? What happens if I go? Can anyone do it as good as me? And oh my gosh. So I think for people starting their second act, getting the people on board to help you do what you want to do is so important. And you have a team of people now. You have your attorney, your accountant, that group of people, your coach, all those people that are going to support you in your business. Yeah. And you did that early on. And I think that that's really, really important that it's ask early, get the help that you need early. Yeah.
And not to give you an obvious plug, I'm not trying to do that.
Oh,
But
no,
really,
don't give me an obvious plug to my business coaching business or to my book, Second Act Business
those are
Owner.
things that I didn't know that I learned from coaching.
Yeah.
So I think I get frustrated with people sometimes when they're closed-minded to furthering their education, whether it be reading a book, going to a seminar, networking, whatever, and especially hiring a coach. I didn't know anything. I didn't have a business degree.
No.
I didn't have business experience. I mean, I had a little bit. Doing hair, you are running a tiny little business, and it matters, but large scale is just very different. Like you said, that's when you have to bring on help.
Exactly.
And support for the business. So
and you
that
can
was new.
do more, better, cool things and be strategic. So
Yes.
what fears or doubts did you have before you made the leap? Wherever you want to start with the leap, because you've made several leaps in your second act.
Yeah.
What fears or doubts did you have at the time?
Every single time, whether it was from opening the first one, the second one, even up to the expansion that we're doing now, I've thought, where will I get the capital?
Yeah. I remember
And you taught me that capital is available.
It's everywhere.
And it is everywhere. Sometimes it takes a little more work to acquire it. Sometimes it comes easier. I found that real interesting. The times that it comes easy when my model wasn't proven versus another time when I was refinancing a very well proven loan. So I would say my biggest thing that held me back was wondering where I would get the capital to do so. Another thing that I think is so important, and I know you see this all the time with your second act clients, is being careful about who you're listening to. Because your friends, your family, the people closest to you who love you the very most will tell you all the things that will probably go wrong if you take this leap.
Right.
They'll tell you 101 reasons why you shouldn't do it. And I finally learned, and this is probably something you taught me, I finally learned to think, okay, you're telling this because you love me and you want to protect me from bottoming out, but have you ever done it before?
Right.
And so then when I started to watch people who were half nuts like myself who had done it and succeeded, I thought, I'm going to go follow them, listen to them, take on their mindset and their habits.
I love that you said half nuts. So I think most people in their second act are half nuts. And we have to be to get over the hump of what we're comfortable with, because out there in the land of the uncomfortable is where all the great stuff happens. I've seen that with you, everything you've done. But I also think you've always said yes to the things you're not even sure of. And that's the thing, builds confidence, doesn't it? I've seen your confidence on a scale just catapult. And I love that about you and your business. You're not only more confident in what you do in business, but just in life.
And again, I think a lot of that is you pushing me out of my comfort zone, not making me do it.
Yeah, I made you.
Pushing me really hard.
Yes.
And then sometimes I do things so that I can say, okay, Lee, I did it.
Yeah.
And then it works out the way you say it'll work out.
It's fun, isn't it?
So, yeah.
Oh, I appreciate all that about you. So what do you think, now that you're on the other side, what do you think stops other people from taking the step to starting their second act?
I think a lot of times it's age. And I've said that. It's come out of my mouth. My runway is not that long anymore. And gosh, if I start now, by the time it's profitable, by the time it's paid off, all those things, I'll be so old. But I think what I wish people would think is, because you are now older, more mature, you've had more life experiences, you know more. And you're financially more capable. And yes, it's risky to leverage the finances you've built, your equity in your home, your retirement, whatever it may be, your savings, whatever you've built that's gotten you to this point where you can leverage it. It's very scary to leverage it, but you have it, If I was 25, I probably couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
So
that's what I think is the best about the second act, is that, you bring all that age and experience. Even if you're in your 30s, you're still further along. And you also said something about not having a formal education in the very beginning. And unless you need to be a neurosurgeon or an accountant or an attorney or something, a degree isn't all that helpful in business. You have to learn about business.
Yeah.
And that happens doing business.
I agree.
And learning business and reading about business and being around other people and masterminding like we do with our clients. Each month we get together and mastermind as a group. And there are resources for people who want to be in their second act. Just have to go out there and find them like you did. So you think financial. What about mindset for
Oh boy, we worked hard on
Yeah.
mindset, didn't we? I think that's everything. I work on it 24/7. I have a sticky note on my computer monitor that says what you focus on, you create more of. And so when I find myself focusing on something negative, I think I'm just heading down that path right now. I got to shift.
What a great nugget of advice. What a great nugget of advice. Focus on what you want more of.
Oh, for
Love
sure.
that.
And
Love
every
that.
time I've done it, it works. You know, every time I've come to you and said, Lee, I can't because you say, well, yeah, you can because of this. And, and then you focus on that direction, you move that direction. I like to equate it to, for anyone who's ever snow skied, I remember, I'm not a big snow skier, I don't even like it, but when I was in ski school, the first time I ever went, and someone asked, how do you turn, and they said, you just look the direction you want to go, and you automatically, when you're skiing, you automatically go that way. And it's true. I remember getting out on the slopes for the first time and thinking, that's weird. If I look right, I turn right. And I feel like that's how it is in business too. Whichever direction you look, you will go. If you look towards crash and burn, you will crash and burn. And if you look towards this is going to go big, it'll go big as long as you keep your eye on that North Star.
Yes. Oh, I love it. So let me ask you another question. What did you have to believe about yourself in order to move forward?
I had to trust myself to have the grit to do whatever it took not to fail. I had to look at the things that I've been through in my life before that were hard and scary and didn't have good, I'll say, prognosis, and see that I've succeeded in those things. We're still here. And then trust myself to think, whatever it takes, I will do to make this, if not successful, at least sustainable. It won't fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, such great advice for all of us, no matter where we are. And you're doing something new all the time in your business. You're growing. Now you're expanding again. You didn't know how to do that before. But you're
but again, back to the second act, that's the thing when we're older. You always pointed out to me a million times, look what you've already been through.
Yeah.
I've been through some stuff personally in my family with health. And you're like, you did that. This is nothing.
Right.
And every time I put that perspective in place, I realized, oh yeah, this is nothing compared to what I did before. And we survived that. So again, when you're older, you've had, a lot of people have been through divorces and losses and even businesses. I bet you have clients whose businesses have failed 3 and 4 times over. They know how to prevent it now.
That's right. It is. And everything you live through makes you stronger anyway. And that is a great reminder that you have already lived through way more than you're worried about. The fear of the unknown, false expectations appearing real. You remember that. Oh my gosh, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen and this is going to happen. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
And how about we not focus on it? 85% of what we worry about never happens. And of the 15% of the things that do happen, people say that it wasn't nearly as bad as they thought. Isn't that an interesting thing?
Or there's a lesson that comes from it that's valuable and saves you down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do people see from the outside that looks glamorous, but they don't realize there's work behind it?
I think this goes for every business owner. Definitely not just me. I think that people from the outside thinks everything looks glamorous. Yeah. I think they think that business owners are just, and maybe this is in my head, but that we all just we have a lot of money and we're so busy out there spending it because they don't see us working on our business. They don't see us in our office, in our home office in a lot of cases at 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. or, 3 a.m. like, oh no, I just realized this is going to happen or whatever. They don't know the fires we're putting out behind the scenes. If they don't physically see us in the business, I think they assume we're not working, and we're always working.
Always.
So
thinking about it anyway, for sure.
And I hear that a lot among business owners that we're perceived as not working as hard as we are.
Must be nice. I mean, you're in 3.5 years now, right? In this. I can think of how many times you've said, I worked on this all night or I worked on this all weekend, whether it was taxes or looking at your finances or the drawings for your business. You did all kinds of things that no one saw.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the athlete. No one sees them until they're on the track.
Game day.
Yeah. And then they're out, they're exercising every day, which you've really done that. So you are, I would call, a successful second actor. For those thinking about second act, what do you recommend that they do first?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, not to sound like Nike, but
Right.
I see a lot of people just think about it, talk about it. They have a great idea and they just don't execute. You know, my daughter, I didn't intend to bring this up, but she has a big dream of having an equine therapy business. And it's been so fun. I haven't helped her a lot. She's educated. She's done all the things, but she's catching on. She'll say, Mom, I just did the next thing. She said, I did this. I just did the LLC paperwork online. When you do one thing, it leads you to the next. And before you know it, you turn around and you're like, look, I've done this. It's all stacked. And you're there. But so many people just don't do the thing. They don't do anything. They talk about it. They think about it. They come up with 101 reasons why they shouldn't. And another thing I think that's important is to put it out there. I know there have been times I've kept secrets because I think just in case this doesn't happen, even with our expansion that we're doing now, I thought about it, talked to you about it a lot. This was in the works for a long time before I was brave enough to tell anybody. But now once I've told people, now I have to do it or I look like.
Right.
And so telling people does hold you accountable.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think in the second act, you just have to do that. You have to find someone to help hold you accountable and have someone to challenge you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a coach, but someone who has your best interest.
And someone to cheer you on. I have to say,
we celebrated a lot.
You are my biggest cheerleader. You and my husband, top two by miles. You celebrate everyone with me. And I love having someone I can call. And it's not bragging, oh my gosh, this just happened. We leased all of our suites, whatever it is, that you can't tell other people because they're not that interested.
No, and you might think it feels braggy to them. I like what you said about your daughter, the stacking effect. I think I'm going to add that somewhere in what I say, because it is the stacking effect in a second act that gets you where you want to go and gets you over the hill.
Yeah.
And I love that. And isn't it fun seeing her be successful?
It is fun.
Oh my gosh, it's contagious. Entrepreneurial, being a business owner and doing all that it's contagious.
Which I think is the best part. I think I know I can't imagine your job when you're an entrepreneur and you're helping people succeed. Yeah.
So you get all those wins are your wins too. So if my daughter does this successfully, it's all her. I mean, I'm not going to take any credit, but it's just fun to be able to support that.
It is.
And be her cheerleader.
Well, what a great way to end our conversation today. I really appreciate you taking time to tell our listeners about your second act, because I've been talking about the second act and now you're living it and walking it, and you just shared this story. Rewind this. Listen to what Kristin said, because at Utopia Modern Salon Suites, what she owns and what she has started is she was a trailblazer in this industry. People have watched her, have seen her, have tried to copy her. It's been really quite an amazing, amazing story. And she started out with the thought. So if you're thinking about it, now's the time to take action. You may wonder why at the end of my podcast, I always tell you what I feel like expressing, and then I ask you what you feel like expressing. One of the things we do in coaching is we ask people what they feel like expressing. And what that does is it grounds us. It tells us we're getting started. We're right here. And it lets us in on what's going on behind the scenes, if you will. So Kristin, would you share, what do you feel like expressing?
I feel like expressing my gratitude to you as my coach. I mean it when I say you are a very large part of the reason I've come as far as I've come in business. And if my second act story inspires even one person, that gratitude will just explode.
Oh, thank you for expressing. I appreciate that very much. What I feel like expressing is gratitude. Again, the highest level of vibration is gratitude, and I'm very grateful to be a part of your story. I'm happy to celebrate with you, and I'm looking forward to celebrating with you. And that's what I feel like expressing.
This show is part of the ICT Podcast Network. For more information, visit ictpod.net.